softer when the hair is regrowing. When I shave my beard and my eyebrows,
I mean, I shave my
do tend
beard
to find that
and
the
my
hair
eyebrows.
is incredibly prickly because it has been
Incredibly
cut.
prickly.
It is left blunt, so my chin can sometimes feel and look a little bit like a cactus. Also,
It's a bit
having
like
hair
a
and shaving the
cactus.
hair can create texture. Sometimes you will notice in some of my films it's almost as if there's a sandpapery, grainy appearance on the chin, certainly in these areas, even though when I apply a foundation and powder and the skin is incredibly smooth. I mean, just to touch, it's very, very smooth and soft.
Very smooth.
However, it does create an element of texture. So
An
by
element of
removing the
texture.
hair, this will of course remove the texture. Even though I have had the majority of my facial hair removed, whenever I shave, I give my skin a thorough massage. I really move my fingers around and push in and push in and push in. I use some of the DHC cleansing oil. I've also produced for you here how I remove.
She has a very beautiful Scottish
I shall leave the
accent.
applicable link within the description of this film, because the techniques and the procedure for which that I use within that film showcases the massage methods for which that I use. I use these methods before I shave. So I massage the skin and then I exfoliate it with something slightly coarser, perhaps a wet cloth, a wet face towel, or maybe I will put on a face mask that has slight exfoliants in it and then remove it. Before I shave, I then take a hot towel and I just press it onto the skin, just to prep my skin before I shave. I also prefer the old-fashioned way of shaving, which is probably a surprise to nobody, but I don't like those modern creams or the oils. Of course, you will find what works for you. I also like to use the DHC oil to shave sometimes. However, I have found that the traditional shaving cream tends to work best for me. This is the Taylor of Old Bond Street Sandalwood Shaving Cream, and they've been going for a very long time. They were established in 1854. I actually remember when they first launched, but I've been a fan of this cream for a long time, and it's not expensive at all. And I purchased this several months ago, and it has lasted a very long time. But the way that this works is that you create a lather with one of these shaving type brushes. These are both very cheap options. Of course, they vary in price depending on the retailer. I tend to wet the brush first of all, then dab it damp into the product and create a lather, and then go around it on the face creating a lather. That also exfoliates the skin at the same time because the brush is quite coarse. The reason it is important to exfoliate the skin before shaving is certainly the beard area, and that's not to say go and use sandpaper to exfoliate. Try to use something that's very gentle. It's because it will remove the dead skin, which makes it easier to access the hair and remove the hair, but it also lifts the hairs into position. By exfoliating it, it lifts the hairs up. Now, I am very fond of the traditional razors. This is actually just a cheap one. It works like that. The blade is very fine, and I always shave against the grain, which of course can cause irritation, but I don't find that I can get a really clean, neat, polished shave unless I shave against the grain. I also like to shave to the point where you cannot see the hair at all. I don't like to look as if though I have 5 o'clock shadow at all. It's not a very flattering look. It can be a little bit difficult to do these certain areas here, so I do tend to use just a regular razor. This one is by Gillette, and I'm able to take it up and round the chin a lot easier than with the traditional razor. And I would definitely say if you're going to use one of these, try it out on your arm first of all. Try removing
it out on your arm.
First of all. I have found
bad
laser
accent.
hair removal to be very, very helpful.
Try it out on your
personally.
arm.
Even though I think that this experience of hair removal will be useful to many people like myself. Perhaps you are somebody
I'm
that
going
is
to
wishing
post this as a matter of
reassign
fact.
you.
I don't know how to do hair accent as a matter of fact, but I would like to try. That's a really bad one. Anyway, I should learn how to do accents. Someone compared me to John Maclean, and I don't think I resemble in any way John Maclean. I suppose my androgyny is what got me compared to him, and it's not transphobic because John Maclean identifies as a man, but I was compared to him, and that's a little bit insulting because it indicates that I'm masculine, and yeah, I suppose I am masculine to a point, but I like to think that I'm 60-40, and that I've worked really, really hard not to be compared to a very beautiful man. He is a very beautiful man. He certainly knows how to do his makeup. He does have very nice, fair skin. he's got talent. He's also a really good, apparently a very good carpenter. He has skills. But I don't like being necessarily compared to a man, except maybe in his very creative way of thinking, because if you've actually had the chance to watch his videos, he has a very interesting mind. He has a very interesting philosophy. It's interesting. I say it's interesting because even he wants to be very feminine at all times. And some might just say, well, maybe he's just a cross-dresser. Perhaps. Maybe he would prefer to be a full-time portrayal of female. But he still identifies as a man. And that's kind of interesting because in this era, it's very strange to see that. We generally perceive men, biological men, portraying as female, as especially ones who pass as transgender. They must be born in the wrong body. He doesn't feel that. He really feels that he is a man. He doesn't need to validate his being a man. He knows he's a man, but he really has a strong inclination towards femininity. And he just doesn't think that we need to have those labels of what it means to be male or female. And he also talks about the history of human civilization, where men used to be a lot more feminine. We don't even have to go that far back. If you look at the fops, you know how feminine they would be. So this is quite fascinating. So I've been watching his videos, admiring even the way he talks, and I suppose I wouldn't mind talking as gracefully, as carefully worded as he, but I don't know how he would be in a frank conversation. I've seen him in interviews where he gets the chance to be very careful with what he says, but for all I know, he's putting on a front or a face. He certainly likes to do that because he wants everything that is, certainly everything that is seen of him, is known of him. He wants that to be art and beauty. And that's understandable, that's commendable to a point, but only to a point. But I wouldn't mind incorporating some of that so that I could have, I don't know, I suppose maybe that this is being envious or feeling redundant, or just realizing that I don't have a lot of character. I'm not much of a character myself. I'm more like a cartoon character, all over the place, especially if you follow my Twitter. But besides that, I don't really have much of a personality. If you ask me what's your favorite, nope, I don't have any favorites. I can tell you what I dislike, but that's not saying much. There's a lot I dislike. I mostly dislike most of this modern civilization. There are things that I don't mind of it, like technology. I think technology is great. I like certain freedoms. I especially like the fact that I can live as a trans woman without repercussion. That's great. I'm not being hunted down and killed. Certainly if I was in, say, the Middle East, that wouldn't be the case, but I digress. So I'm watching these videos. I'm finding them fascinating. I think that a lot of people who are questioning whether or not they're transgender, they need to watch his videos, because he makes a very good case. You don't have to change your gender to express yourself, express your gender as you see fit. You can still be a man and still be a beautiful man, and that's okay. I think that's a great statement. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.